start. Intro. Everybody, we are back. It is Taped On Live, favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also, follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at BD Williams 18 for BD. Also, pandasups.com. Discount code TDL for 35% off. Make sure you guys are taking advantage of that. Like I said, pandasups.com. Use TDL for 35% off. All right, BD. It's Combine reaction timer. I made my trip out to the Combine. Me and TDL affiliate Matt Holder. He definitely was out there. We definitely went out there and did.
So you were out there representing TDL in Indianapolis, is what you're telling me right now.
Yeah.
All right. So tell the fans, tell the TDL audience, okay, Marcus, our liaison from TDL went down to the Combine. He was rubbing elbows down there with the GMs, with the head coaches. Okay, he was asking prospects questions. He was getting in the nitty gritty, right? Tell us what you were getting into with these guys and what your experience was down there.
It was another good experience. I mean, it's some long days, man. I feel like those press conferences get very tiring by day 3, definitely. But I mean, that's the job that's out there for a lot of people want to do, and I mean that's kind of what the Combine is. I mean, most of the rest of it is kind of like going out to some of these events and trying to get into some of these places and hang out at the JW Marriott bar and just ear hustle a little bit, talk to some people, and then sit and hear what you hear and kind of see what's going on and try to figure out I don't tweet it out a lot of the stuff that I heard out there, but there's definitely some loud stuff that you end up hearing. Definitely, probably none of it's true, but it's just
you can't tweet it all out. You can't tweet it all out. What you're saying? There's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of smoke out there.
Just smoke. I mean, that's basically what Jeremy Fowler kind of does to me. He just kind of because I know how the game goes, and I know that's where it comes from. And it comes from like after lots and lots of shots. It's
right.
Definitely it gets blitzed out there. One guy kind of embarrassed himself, I heard.
Oh yeah. That's trying to be an insider. Trying to be an insider when it goes wrong.
The questions get hilarious though, man. The questions are so bad. I feel bad for the guys, man. They just get.
Oh really?
Hilarious. Yeah. I got to ask Felix Uzama. I think I'm saying that right, from Kansas State. Asked him about Nigerians in the NFL and all the pass rushers.
Okay, yeah.
It was funny. Just him trying to not talk about being African and stuff. It was kind of funny.
You got you guys got a lot of Nigerians in Arizona, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're all over. The pass rushers dog. There's a Nigerian pass rusher coming from. I think the whole NFL is going to be full of Nigerian pass rushers in about 5 years.
Yeah.
That's if you don't have one,
you gotta have that. You gotta have that NFL league out there, the developmental league. All right, get out there.
I think it's time.
It's time. West African NFL. Telling you deserve a lot of talent. That and some of these Pacific Islands, like I seen Fiji play in the rugby, play rugby, in the Olympics, and it's like a team full of NFL backs. I'm like, what's going on with Fiji? Hold on now, right? Like, so NFL's got to get out in some of these places. They're all like 6 foot 220, like running fast. I'm like, bro, Fiji. I'm thinking like in my head a bunch of skinny islanders or something. I was like, nah. But anyways, let's get to it. Talk to me about some of the things that impressed you from these players at the Combine. We don't have to, be a hot take. What Marcus heard some GM say at the, you know what I'm saying? But if you want to throw that in there, and it helps color your analysis. But what are some things that biggest takeaways from you that you saw from the quarterback position? Let's start with QBs at the combine.
One of my biggest takeaways is, of course, Anthony Richardson is going to go really high. I think he's going to go higher than a lot of people think. When I first watched him,
guy who a grandma could be like, that boy good, right?
Yeah, and it's big time talent. The biggest knock on him is going to be his accuracy, but I think that's something that could be developed, something that could be reasonable in the NFL. Like Cam Newton had bad accuracy coming out. People are going to point to the completion percentage, but Cam's accuracy wasn't that much better. Same thing with kind of like Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson was a little bit better of a quarterback, as a better passer than Anthony Richardson coming out. But history.
That's the biggest question for me. It's not about like you want to sit back and you want to pick apart this guy's game. Okay, all right. I learned the hard way when I did that with Josh Allen. Okay, and I think we could all take a step back and say, hey, we got to look at some of the things that are just obvious here. Okay. In today's NFL, you got these beast pass rushers. Okay. They're going to fold little quarterbacks in half. Derek Carr couldn't even stand up to the pressure for 6'2", 215. And he always had a hard time with it, right? Being a little worried, not being able to shake guys off. You want a quarterback now, especially when you're talking about all the pass rush talent that's coming in the NFL. You want a guy who could play through contact, a guy's on his shoulders, and he can get out of that and make a play. You need a big, strong guy to be able to do that. You're not doing that at being a regular sized dude in the world walking around. You can't play NFL quarterback right now in today's age. You got to be a big, strapping man. When I'm looking at this guy right here, it's like, bro, sky's the limit. This is as talented of a quarterback as we've ever seen come in. Talent, obviously, the skill level is a huge question mark.
It's the only question mark to me is the redshirt sophomore thing for me. Like if he played another season, number one, I wouldn't even think about it. It wouldn't even be like have a debate with anybody. But
there's no debate.
Because even then, like I'll be worried myself to draft him just because of that. Just because I know it's like, man, I'm really trying to bet on an outlier, right?
He needs a redshirt year. He needs a redshirt year. Patrick Mahomes got a redshirt year. Aaron Rodgers got 3 redshirt years, and these at the time were extremely talented quarterbacks. Yes, the arm talent, maybe you want to say it's not there with those guys from Anthony Richardson. But just like the physical talent that this guy is, this is insane. This is insane. So I would definitely want to see a team bet high. If he's there at 7, Raiders have to pull the trigger, but give him a redshirt year. I know the fans are going to be clamoring for wherever fan base that he goes. They're all going to be saying, "Hey, I want to play this guy." But he needs a year to watch some veteran go about his business so that it can click for him before he starts getting in there. Otherwise, you don't see guys get a second chance from failure too often. So you got to be in the right situation. It's not like it's that clean just from all on the on-field stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Now, my question to you is there anything that maybe like, because what I really want to know more than just like the touch and the accuracy, I want to know about his personality. Did you get a chance to like hear him talk or anything like that?
Yeah. His personality is good, man. I think he handled the questions well. Somebody asked him a question about him being a project that was kind of a little goofy. He kind of came back to that later on. He made a kind of joke about it. So you can say he has a good personality. He's kind of laid back. It's not really like like he's not like outgoing, kind of like Bryce Young. Bryce Young's more like charismatic a little bit, I believe.
Okay.
He's a little bit more laid back, kind of like deeper. His voice is a lot deeper. It's kind of just not really like a like an in your face kind of. You can tell he's not in your face rah type of guy.
Are you reading that as like laid back, like super confident in his ability, so he doesn't need to like say a bunch of stuff, or are you reading that more of that as like reserved?
I think he's reserved, like not really reserved, but I would say like just not like in your face leader type of thing, like you would say with like Will Levis. Like Will Levis, if it's that's kind of how he approached the. Even CJ Stroud. They approached it like they're like quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Anthony Richardson.
CEO. type.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's how. I mean Bryce Young and them, they kind of came out there. I mean, especially Will Levis. Man. Will Levis, he really came out like he was the CEO. So,
And
even when I saw him at the airport, he just looked like he just was. I could tell that teams are gonna like him, man, a lot.
so maybe personality or maturity level might be a question mark with Richardson as well.
Yeah. I think it'd be annoying, but it kind of be like the same thing they did with Justin Herbert with personality. I think that Justin Herbert didn't have really that like personality, that rah quarterback. CEO
Didn't want to take the bull by the horns thing. I think. Well, also, I mean, this is a different conversation too about just like how generations like are changing, and maybe these guys that are going and attacking it that way, they're just being told like, hey, this is what the teams are looking for. And if you go to a big program, Florida is a big program like that, but he's just a sophomore, Richardson.
Yeah.
But a lot of times with the upperclassmen, they're gonna bring them in. They're gonna like coach them on like how to be interviewed, like on TV and stuff like that, right? So that's something that being a younger player, not that much time as a starter in college, Richardson probably didn't get nearly as much of this as like Bryce Young. Bryce Young's been coached on how to talk to the media for like how long, right?
Yeah, and Alabama, man. I mean,
exactly.
Florida football is huge too, but it's SEC football. I think he's trained for the media, but it took definitely tell a difference in like in swagger and stuff like that. And but I mean, he was great on the boards. That was kind of the big thing. He did great with like Steve Mariucci on TV on some board stuff. So he's a really smart guy. I didn't know he didn't have a quarterback coach in Florida. So
they're definitely drafting him. Then they're definitely drafting him. Because every time when you draft one of these highly touted quarterbacks, you're also drafting their freaking personal coach. Okay, that's been with them for like the last 5 years or whatever it is. Like that's half the time what you're getting with these guys too. So Anthony, that's gonna be a breath of fresh air for these guys, especially if they're like, oh, he's had no one teaching them a bunch of bad habits that we don't like, right? And that he swears by, right? Great, run up the pick. This is our guy here, right?
That's what I said. I don't think he's gonna be there at 7. I think that's kind of just.
I agree.
The NFL people don't act like people online love to be like they don't care about the combine, but we're gonna talk about measurements in a second, and I'll put this up. But like teams stick to these measurements, bro. Like they don't let these guys fool you. I was watching the running backs today. I was looking at every running back that was 5'11", 215 that ran under 1.5, ran at like a 1.6 split under, because that's a Josh McDaniels running back, because that's exactly what they drafted Zamir White, and that's how we predicted it because of those measurements. So any guy that's like that, I'm like, maybe there's a chance they might draft him. So
So obviously Richardson falls into that category, right? But are you saying then for the Raiders measurements, a guy like Bryce Young is not a possibility, even if he's there at 7, because of what Josh McDaniels has historically gone after in a quarterback? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So I posted on Twitter the averages. His averages was 227 with weight, around like 6'2" with height. And, hands really didn't matter to them. The hands were like 9.33, which means we don't care about hands. And, I mean, the interesting one was the 3-cone, which is around like 7. He has to be under 7.25, the 3-cone.
So McDaniels has never drafted a guy who...
Go ahead.
McDaniels has never drafted a guy who didn't run the 3-cone?
No, he's never drafted a guy who never ran the 3-cone.
Wow. Because half the quarterbacks won't even run that, right?
Well, I think they do at their pro day, but
their pro day they'll get it. They'll get the data.
Levis didn't. C.J. Stroud didn't. Anthony Richardson didn't either.
Yeah.
And the only guys who did was Clayton Tune. So Clayton Tune hit a 6.89.
Hey, 6.89, sub 7.
Clayton Tune had a day, man. Clayton Tune, he's 6'2" and 5 inches, 220. So, I mean, the Raiders also have never drafted a quarterback under 217. Josh McDaniels has never done that.
Josh McDaniels has never drafted a quarterback under 217. So who was that? Jimmy Garoppolo, 217?
Mac Jones. Mac Jones is the lowest one. Mac Jones, 217. And Jarrett Stidham are the only two quarterbacks. Let me share this.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so you can see this is kind of a list of every single quarterback that he has added. Okay, so Castle, he really didn't draft him because that was before 06, but that's fine. But you kind of could see the averages here. He gets 6'2" and 8 inches, so basically 6'3", 227, right? And the lowest is 217, which has been recent, so he's been going lower, right? He's been going lower. He hasn't changed the height. The height has never changed. But they have gone a little lower. They've gone below 220 recently. Jarrett Stidham, right? And Mac Jones. And then we got for vert, it's anything over 30, which I mean is basically you have to be semi-athletic. The 40 kind of doesn't matter a little bit, but the 3 cone is the big one. So the 3 cone is 7.05 for the 3 cone. So that's the average. So you got to have a good 3 cone at some point. Shuttle, don't worry about. Broad jump, it's kind of, they're all the same, right? But I mean, it's kind of a basic broad jump. So it's really nothing special there, but nothing that points out. But the main thing that are the height, the weight is the big one, which is, I mean, that's a trend. And the 3 cone. So if you go over here, and I get these guys listed here a little bit. You can see I got some of these guys already listed as red a little bit, but like Stroud, he's under 217. Richardson hits those. The real guy that kind of hits everything is Levis, 229, 10.625 hands. He did vert, 34-inch vert. Yeah,
10 and 5/8 hands. Yeah. Okay. So, well, Levis definitely 100% hits all these. I would say 217 is the lightest quarterback. I feel like CJ Stroud has to be in the conversation still. Like that's not gonna put him off the board. Coming in 3 pounds less than their lightest QB ever. What do you think? If he's there at 7,
it won't take him. It won't take him off the board. It won't take him off the board.
Right.
But if they got to a choice between these two, that's where he gets to, right? Like if I had to pick one, who do I go with? Also, a big thing too is if you take out, go back here, you take out Matt Castle, right? Which I don't know why I put in Matt Castle, but I just did it for fun, just to see kind of match if it was Bill Belichick or if it was Josh McDaniels. But it's kind of a mixture of both. But there's just a lot of SEC over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a couple of, there's Auburn, LSU, Florida, Alabama, So
San Diego State is an outlier. San Diego State is an outlier, but yeah. Big school. Too. It's definitely, you're not throwing against as tough of competitors in the secondary when you're playing in the Big Ten, but certainly pass rushers and and some like the defensive line talent that you're going to see in the Big Ten is going to be comparable at the very least. And Ohio State is a big time school up there with the SECs, even though it's playing in a slightly lesser division. But big schools. He drafts guys from big schools, Boston College. It's still in the ACC, right? Uh-huh. So, but so between the two of these guys, who would you prefer then? Just off the tape.
Stroud, 100%. Stroud.
All right, so but we gotta hope that they don't do Levis then.
I think they like Levis though.
Levis, sorry. So you gotta trade down. You gotta trade down for Levis. We cannot allow this to happen at 7. Please do not do this to us, Josh McDaniels.
Because I mean, if you just go by the averages, man, he's hit the. I mean, it's 264, 229. The vert 34. I mean, if he hits those 3 cones, if he hits that 3 cone,
yeah,
that's gonna be a big deal too. Because I mean, Max Duggan's out. I think they like Hooker too. I think Hooker hits the 6'3".
That's the guy I wanted to tell you about. So I want to talk to you about. So what about then passing on QB in the first round instead of getting out of this whole, vying for the QB between Stroud and Levis in the top 10? Screw that. Pick best, pass rusher, defensive tackle, whatever it is. Pick best player that's there on your board, and then maybe talking about Hooker in the second round. What do you think about that? As far as like being a better option than CJ Stroud in the top 10.
I wouldn't know if it was a better option, in my opinion. Okay. But I would understand if they did it because I think they need to load up on defense, and they need to make this defense as good as possible. So I would understand it. I would understand if they use some defense picks early, that either whether that's trading back from 7 and getting another first round pick, right, and then or more picks down the line, so you can get a quarterback later on. I think there's some decent depth past the main 4 guys that are expected to go to first round. I think Hooker and McKee are good quarterbacks on tape. I think McKee has some good moments on tape as well. So does Hooker. I think they're solidified second round quarterbacks in my opinion. And then McKee, he really didn't hit a lot of his 3 cone kind of if you want to go by these measurements, his 3 cone here
7.22 for his 3 cone.
So he barely made it right under the 7.25. Yeah. So and he's got a decent vert. He didn't run the 40. So,
but we're talking about second round at that point. These are the options. It's either getting in the sweepstakes for Levis or Stroud in the top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or getting best player available, and then it's either McKee or you're potentially saying Hooker. You agree with that in the second round?
Yeah. But I am going to say do not sleep on Clayton Tune. Don't sleep on them not liking Clayton Tune. Just looking at his profile, I think his tape is actually not bad either. I think he has late day 2 tape. Maybe even somebody really likes him just based on his athletic profile. I mean, he 37-inch vertical, 6.89 3 cone, 4.64 40, 6'2", 220 pounds. It's a pretty damn good profile. So don't sleep on that.
That checks all the boxes. For these guys.
And Patrick Graham was his coach for the Senior Bowl, so they know him. They have a lot of insight on that. Right. That's somebody that if they don't go quarterback early on, they could. But
obviously that wouldn't be exciting for the fan base.
No, it wouldn't.
Or Hooker really, or the other guy that you're saying, McKee. So
I think Hooker would be excited for some of the fan base. I think some of the fan base would be excited.
I would be cautiously optimistic about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be too. I think he has some good elements to his game. I think the offense he's in, it kind of it makes it a little bit easy for him. Let's say that. But I think he has a good arm. I think he has a lot of great movement skills. Some things he could do better, like keeping his eyes downfield more when he uses his legs. But I think he has a pretty good feel in the pocket, pretty good pocket presence. He doesn't fumble or anything like that. And so there's a lot of things to like about him, Don Hooker, for sure. But I think they are leaning Will Levis at this point, just based on combine and his profile and him playing in the SEC. And he could throw a good dig with a great quick release, and he could take a hit.
Well, he's a big guy, so I'll give him that. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. I mean, it's all about the tape you watch with Will Levis, because you watch Georgia, you watch Florida, you'd be like, oh, that's pretty ugly. You watch Ole Miss, though, man. I mean, there are some good throws against Ole Miss. He has a really quick release, really great arm. I think the problem with me is that sometimes you don't see that big arm if him trying to throw outside the numbers and try to drive it outside the numbers. And that's like a lot of footwork with him. So he's got a lot to work on downstairs, I believe.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, he ran a pro offense, which was like he ran a pro offense, and today's college football is just idiotic. So it didn't work out for them, of course. Trying to run like a watered down West Coast offense.
Yeah, let's the advantage of an NFL offense is all the nuance, but let's do that without the nuance. Let's just strip it all out. Good idea. Good idea.
Yeah, it's like Stanford. Stanford's out there trying to run the Bill Walsh's West Coast college still. But Levis, he wouldn't get the fans. I think the fans would be upset about that because I think most of the fans, they want CJ Stroud. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. But I think the weight's going to bother them a little bit. It just might. If they had to choose between the two, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I like CJ. I like Will Levis more than CJ Stroud because a lot of people, when you say these things, they assume that you are saying that they should not draft CJ Stroud. It's not my personal opinion. It's just what I feel like they would do if they had to choose between the two. They would go.
I think if it's really that close, see if you can get them outside the top 10. See if you could trade out. And get down, into the mid first round. And then whichever quarterback is still there, then pick that guy. Please don't pick, top 10 just because two other quarterbacks went and you feel like you don't have any other options here. Please, let's see if Ziegler can actually manage a draft, unlike Mike Mayock, and just had to sit there and just pick the guy that they really wanted. Let's see if Ziegler is a real GM, if he can get out of that spot, if he really wants this guy Levis. If he really wants that guy, let's see if he can get out of that spot at 7 and get him. That's all I'll say about that.
6, or find a way to trade up to 6 or 5, or something like that. If you really like a quarterback, I don't like the idea of trading up to 3 because they don't have the assets for that. But maybe if it's like a 1 spot, something like that. I don't know.
Right.
Because
I'm with you.
Because I'm worried about the Panthers jumping them. That's something. Because they are a team that has the players, because they have some pretty good drafts, that they could afford to jump them and trade up.
Yes.
Give some draft picks to land a quarterback.
They have the pieces.
They have the pieces already there, so they can do that. That's
right. All right, let's transition halfway through the hour here. Let's transition to another position group that I think that the Raiders are definitely going to be in on. They have to be in on, which is defensive line, namely, more interior guys who can generate that pass rush. We've talked about Mozzie Smith on this show, but is there any other guys that just from what you've seen of them on film, and then maybe some things that you saw at the combine that are aligning with that when you were there?
I know that they have formal visits with Tyree Wilson and Myles Murphy, so I think those two guys are going to be. They're going to be options at 7. All right. Tyree Wilson, he didn't run because he's still dealing with the injury, but he's a massive human. He was outside of Anthony Richardson. He was the biggest guy that I've seen at the combine. I didn't stay for linemen, but the other linemen looked that impressive this year. Tyree Wilson is a monster, right? Myles Murphy has some of the best upfield bursts and get off you'll see from any defensive lineman, edge rusher you'll see in a minute. I mean, it's just that he fully depends on that. He really doesn't have any moves. He just beats people off the ball right now. But he's a guy that's option at 7. I think Tyree Wilson doesn't have like the bend that you might like, but I think he complements Max Crosby a little bit better than Myles Murphy does. I think Myles Murphy is more I think he needs to be the more dominant pass rusher. I still think Tyree Wilson's like an elite secondary pass rusher, if that makes sense, because I don't know if he's going to ever be like a 13, 14 sack guy, but I know he's going to be a damn good set the edge player, get 10 sacks, get 8 sacks, get 9,
right.
And just be a really good player like that.
Hold on. Raiders already have Cleveland Farrell rostered. What do you mean?
No, he did this. He's not Cleveland Farrell. Like, I don't want to say that, but you just
described Cleveland Farrell. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, like this guy, he's He looks, I mean, like you're saying, he's huge. 6'7", 271 with 35 and 5-inch arms. My goodness, dude, he probably has a 7-foot wingspan for sure. I mean, this is that is a massive human. I think that kind of falls in line with some of the Patriots players that we've seen. Flowers, the defensive end Flowers, this guy who's coming to name, Richard Seymour, obviously guys who are like, they played end, but they were big enough to play defensive tackle on pass rush downs, but like, truly in that mold. I mean, 6'6", 271, he's the biggest guy on the Raiders defensive line, and that's saying something in the NFL. So this is, if you're saying that guy at 7, that'd be interesting. I'd have to watch this guy to see about him. But what about interior guys who are going to be rushing the passer from like 3 technique primarily and playing on the defensive interior? Did you see anyone there?
Yeah, there's some good defense tackles that have a chance to kind of become those type of pass rushers. I think the inside is a little bit underwhelming in my opinion. I mean, of course, the Jalen Carters is somebody that's going to be way up there. Mozzie Smith is somebody that's going to be way up there. The dude from Baylor, I can't even think of his name right now. Siaki Ika.
Siaka Ika, yeah.
Siaka Ika, yeah. He's a really good player too. But a lot of those guys, like Keanu Bentons and the Zach Pinkins and all those guys, they don't have good tape, but they have been killing it in the offseason. Like Keanu Benton has been fantastic. I think he had a really good day. The guy that I really, shocked me, and then I went back and watched his tape afterwards is, the guy from Northwestern, 282 pounds. How do you say his name, BD?
Oh, this is, I don't know about that. I mean, we're going to have to get someone to tell us how to say this guy.
He is that dude.
Adebawore or something like that. This is a tough one, but if the defensive end from Northwestern, he's got the physical profile of a guy who we're going to figure out how to say his name. I mean, you sent me a clip. You sent me a clip that looked pretty beastie. Him, stopping the run here. I'm just going to read out his measurements. We'll put the name on the screen so you guys are understanding who we're talking about here. We're not butchering this gentleman's name, but at 6'2", 282, with 33 7/8 inch arms, 10.5-inch hands, massive. Okay, 4.4940, 161, 10-yard split, 37.5-inch vert, 10.5 broad, with 27 reps on bench. This is definitely an interesting, intriguing player here. Looks like NFL thinks he's gonna more likely be a day 2 guy. I mean, to me, that just sounds like kind of like a Shelby Harris type, but obviously there's even bigger guys, or guys who have played a lot better, and Shelby Harris even like a 10-year NFL vet. But what are you seeing from this guy?
Yeah, I think he can play inside and outside. I think he has really good bend too. I think he's, that athleticism, you see it on tape, especially when, he went up there against Ohio State, had a pretty good game. But I saw, Ohio State, that offense really struggled against Northwestern. That Northwestern almost beat them. And, he really stood out that game to me. He was able to play the run really well. He was able to kind of get some pressure inside and outside. Definitely is really explosive. You see it on the tape, great bursts. I'm surprised he hasn't been higher on people's boards before just watching it. It's kind of shocking to see those athletic numbers, and just looking for defensive tackles and defensive ends before that, I really didn't even hear his name, right? And here's this dude. I guess PFF was kind of high on him, but yeah, he's a beast, man. That guy, that's somebody like a 38 or something like that at the Raiders. Did draft a quarterback, end up getting like an edge rusher like him, a versatile guy that can play inside and outside. Like we're talking about, like even with like a Tyree Wilson, I think he could do that at 282 pounds. Right. he could do what Tyree Wilson does at 282 pounds. I think he's even a little bit more. I think he's more refined than people think. He doesn't have like these amazing moves, but I think he has some good counters, and yeah, he's explosive off the ball. He's powerful as hell. Something like 27 punch press, 27 bench press reps, man.
With almost 34-inch arms. So usually these long arm guys, we're seeing them, more like 21 reps or whatever it is, 19 reps. So yeah, that's he overall fantastic athletic profile. So that's a guy to keep your eye on. Probably, day two, I would be cautiously optimistic about that. So we talked about defensive tackles, defensive linemen. Obviously, we should bring up Jalen Carter because there was a situation with Jalen Carter that puts him now up for grabs, maybe across the entire NFL. Maybe any team could potentially pick this guy. Do the Raiders pull that trigger, or is this incident that involved speeding, someone dying, that's too close to home, obviously, for the Raiders, right? Like, there's no way they pick him now. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that is something that could go into it. I think the Henry Ruggs situation could add a look to it. I don't know how much the PR pushback would be for Jalen Carter since it's just 2 misdemeanors. It's not really like a felony, and he's not really getting investigated. There's really no jail time with it. It's probably going to become with it. And, who knows how deep it is. So, will he still go 1? That'd be the question. But I mean, if he falls at 7, I don't know. It'd be hard for me to, kind of let that mistake kind of hit him.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I don't know. It's
two people died. 2 people died on this one, so it's like that's like that makes it that sours the whole thing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he drops way further than Raiders at 7.
I don't think that's gonna happen, man. I mean, that's the buzz. I mean, a lot of the scouts were saying like that he's not gonna fall.
That's what you're hearing at the combine, basically. Is that Jalen Carter? He's still up there.
Yeah, he came back and finished his interviews. So
they're gonna sweep this one under the rug somehow.
Yeah, because mainly the NFL's like, it's just misdemeanors, and like it's felonies or anything like that. So
right. I don't know. Like that. After what we've seen with the Ruggs debacle, tragedy, right? That was caused by him. I don't know if the fan base would even receive Jalen Carter well, regardless of the talent. To be honest with you, so I mean that's something that the Vegas would have to think about if he's sitting there at 7. Maybe allow someone to trade up for him and for a king's ransom or whatever it is. So, but yeah, like that. I don't know if that would be a tough pill to swallow. We'd have to really find out about all the situation, all the details with that one. If this is one-off for Jalen Carter or a pattern.
They might start doing their homework on it though, because they might do more homework because just thinking about that, even the option of him being there at 7 wasn't there, right?
It was not there. That was not an option.
So the Raiders do their homework, man, and they're cool with it.
Yeah, got a point.
I'm just saying that.
Right.
We'll just see what you think week 1 when the tape goes on, BD. And then
well, if they draft him, better be on the P's and Q's. My goodness. Part of the contract is you can only ride in an Uber. You are not allowed to drive anywhere.
Yeah, man. You can't live in Las Vegas, man. You gotta live in Reno.
Yeah, really. No, then he'll definitely be speeding. He'll be late to practice. But okay. So, anyone else that you want to talk about defensive line before we move on to a position group? I'm going to let you take it from here as far as that goes.
So for the rest of the edges, they're really impressive group. It's just what the Raiders decide they want to like. I know they've just looking at a little bit of the future of what Patrick Graham has drafted. I mean, they really, they kind of like the 245 to 50 guys. I mean, that's what, Olajari is. Olajari is really kind of that size, kind of that pass rusher that they like, in my opinion. And they might like a bigger pass rusher on the other side. I don't know, BD, you might be able to refer to that a little bit more. But, I think there's a good amount of pass rushers they could look at. There's a Derek Halls who kind of fit that 253, kind of that 250 size. Will McDonald's a little bit just smaller size because there's Nolan Smith Jr. I don't know if they're going to decide they want to like that type of pass rusher. He's 239. I think pass rushers have the chance to always put on more weight than offensive players. I think offensive players lose weight and defense players can gain weight. Nolan Smith might be something that they like at 7. Just
if they get a small if they get a small rusher in top 7, like that means like you're just changing the structure of your entire defense, because you can't justify getting a small rusher in the top 10 and then him being just a sub player, a situational player, right? So I would be shocked. I would be shocked if they get a small guy. To be quite honest with you, and I haven't really seen that honestly from Patrick Graham's defense. I mean, Azeez Ojulari still weighed like 250, right? Like he wasn't like two.
229,
yeah. I mean, like he wasn't like a tiny, edge rusher top 7. Like no. And even he struggled to rush the passer, right? But really, what Patrick Graham's defense was hinged upon in New York with the Giants was having Big Cat Leonard Williams, 6'6", 290, 300-pound defensive tackle, who was creating a lot of havoc, and the Raiders don't have anyone like that. So, some of these other guys that you were talking about that can rush from the interior, I would have my eye on, just because it makes the most schematic sense. But if that's not where the talent is, if they got a more talented edge rusher, I mean, I don't know if it justifies getting the guy who's going to be fighting for snaps versus a guy who's going to be starting from day one on the inside.
See, you just sold me on Tyree Wilson, bro. That's why I think Tyree Wilson's a perfect fit, because he played inside and outside. He's just an ox. He's just strong as damn. Oh hell,
right.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like he could match Max in the run game on both sides. He could fill in with Chandler Jones, and learn behind Chandler Jones, learn some moves too. Because I think Tyree Wilson, once he learns some moves, because he has a great inside moves, right? He has great moves inside, great power. He just have that edge to win with that speed rush outside. At that right now, there's not that bend. Just a lot of it's because he is 6'7", right? And it's hard for him to kind of bend a little bit with some of that kind of longer, long arms type of longer, little slender body he has a little bit. Just kind of his frame. So
you said that he didn't work out at the combine. What's his injury?
Some kind of foot injury. It's like a foot injury that he suffered during the season in November. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, but that's the guy, first guy off the bus kind of guy right there.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 36-inch arms. I'm like, goodness.
Yeah, I think he has a chance to be the guy at 7 too. So unless some teams decide they want to take him earlier, which is a possibility.
Right.
Because he's kind of like Thibodeau. He's kind of like Thibodeau last year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean Thibodeau's not even that big. Thibodeau's big, but not. I mean, this guy's like, that's pretty rare. Okay. Anyone else then that you want to talk about? We could switch back to the offensive side of the ball. Maybe offensive line. Is that a possibility here?
Oh yeah. I mean, offensive line is always a possibility in these guys. Darnell Wright had a great combine. He definitely, I think he solidified himself at least somebody the Raiders could take at 38 if they decide they want to take a tackle, a right tackle. That's somebody I think they could really take at that spot. Dave Zier shouted out Blake Friedman, during his interview with Sean Reed at the Senior Bowl, and then Blake Friedman jumped 37 inches and had a great day. So that could be an option for right tackle as well. Definitely a guy they might like, and be an option for them at whenever, third round. I don't know when to decide that. I think the guards and the centers, they really didn't show too much athleticism. I think this wasn't a very athletic offensive lineman class, is what we learned. But I think a lot of these guys did really well in the drills. Broderick Jones is an option for them, at 7, if they would decide they want to go that way. SEC left tackle, maybe they feel like he could play right tackle. I don't think so. I just feel like his tape is a little bit up and down for me. It's just not consistent on tape. He just doesn't win enough to be a top 7 guy, in my opinion. He's more of a project based on his athleticism, and he didn't really blow it out the water with athleticism today. So.
Going back to Blake Freeland before we get out, before we go on here, I'm looking at his combine. They said sub 5, 40, 37-inch vert, 10-foot broad. They're giving him the highest athletic rank in this class amongst defensive linemen or offensive tackle. Sorry. So it's funny that Ziegler or McDaniels shouted him out. You think this is like some guy that he was like, okay, this guy is a hard worker, he's a good leader, and then he tests like that at 6'8". I mean, this looks like a first round tackle to me just by the athletic profile. What's the tape look like for him?
I mean, tape is not that exciting. He didn't have a good Senior Bowl. Tape's kind of up and down for him a little bit as well. So I mean, definitely something I want to go back.
Another Brandon Parker, then is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's athletic though. He's athletic as hell. Athletic as hell. You know, coach him up, right? Coach him up. He's an athlete. Coach him up.
He's got the tools. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, Darnell Wright had a great day. Definitely showed well in the drills too. Skoronski looked fantastic. So you know, if they decide to do that at 7, that is an option at 7 too. And a lot of people don't like that, but you know, he could play guard too. Probably, I think he'd be an All-Pro guard.
Skoronski at 7.
Paris Johnson's an option at 7. Paris Johnson is a Tom Cable guy. Definitely with his 35-inch arms that he has. And he's 6'6", 313. And DeJuan James, too, man. Don't sleep on DeJuan on the other side, man. He came in like at 6'8", 370, I believe. And his tape might be better than Paris, is in my opinion. I don't know. I have not seen anybody beat him yet. Watched a lot of games. I watched a lot of, you know, CJ Stroud. I watched a lot of different, you know, Ohio State games. I watched a lot of pass rushers against Ohio State. I just haven't seen him beat yet. He only was at the Senior Bowl for one day.
Right.
I don't get how he's not a first round tackle because he doesn't get beat on tape. I want to see somebody beat him. But you know, my dude from Northwestern is probably the only guy I seen move him. So that's why I was like, oh my God, you are a monster. so I was like, ooh. But
all right, so there's some options. You're saying basically there could be some surprises at offensive tackle. It's not as clear cut as what maybe people are thinking.
No, you know, it could be some surprises in the first round, but you know, I don't think the Raiders would reach like that. But I think there's a chance they could take Paris because I mean, Paris is pretty good tape though. I think he definitely is top 10 tackle tape, in my opinion. So I think Skoronski's technique is a little bit better and more cleaner than a lot of these guys that are in front of him. But I mean, it's just a question with his arm length. He has guard arms, so
right.
But you move him inside, man. You put him in a power scheme, bro. You're good, 100%.
All right, so some options at offensive line.
I do want to shout out Alex Forsythe. Sorry, man. I want to shout out Alex Forsythe. He's a center. Definitely somebody I'm keeping my eye on because he pancaked Jalen Carter twice. So that was I've been keeping my eye on him, and he talked about that at the combine. Some of those.
You mentioned that.
Yeah, he did. Somebody asked him about it. It's on tape. You're like, oh wow, it catches you. You're like, oh, that's a.
Hold on now. He showed up to the combine and jumped a 20.5-inch vert, 7'11" broad. That's almost undraftable athleticism. Is he hurt? Tell me he's hurt.
Never mind.
Tell me he's hurt. He showed up with a hamstring pull. All right.
That has to be a typo, man. Do they still have Antoine Harrison with 31-inch arms? They put that out there. It's messed up.
At that point, just say we didn't get a measurement.
Antoine Harrison, 31-inch arms. Like, damn.
Let's someone else give the bad news. Let's see. Antoine Harrison. 34 and an eighth for Antoine Harrison.
Yeah, they put out 31 at first.
All right, you know, maybe your guy Forsythe, maybe that's a typo. Maybe that's okay. We'll verify it with my producer real quick. Forsythe,
because that's bad, man. That's undraftable, man. You can't draft that. I mean, that's terrible.
That's he must have been hurt. That's all.
like 20 inches is like a guy at the call center. You just ask the guy at the call center. You can jump 20 inches.
Yeah.
Like a random one.
Any guy.
Or like a 7. It's like an NFL experience.
Yeah, that's someone from the crowd.
Oh, Sam. I'm sorry, man. We're sorry, Alex Forsyth. We were laughing at your
official measurement. Official measurement 20.5 inches according to Yahoo Sports. So 2 websites said it. Obviously, okay, hold on. Analysis. Obviously, hamstring tweak impacted Forsyth's ability to jump on Sunday. We'll see a better one at the Oregon. He's got a hand. He better. It doesn't matter if he has a hamstring or not. You jump that, and then you go to the reporters and you say, "I have a pulled hamstring." Like, come on.
Why
he's hurt. He's hurt. Because they want to see him gut it out. There's guys who perform. They're like, "Hey, I got a thing," but they all the scouts know, and we're gonna see me put them down sometimes injured and see how that compares to everyone else when they're healthy. You know, like if you're a confident athlete, you're gonna be like, "I'm not gonna do too bad." Obviously, he did bad, so yeah. That's funny. All right, so Forsyth hurt. We'll cut that part out. We don't even need to slander that man like that. I'll back it up. Anyone else? Any other position group that you want to go over here?
Linebacker. They're going heavy on linebacker at the draft. Raiders are drafting a linebacker.
Okay.
They're drafting a linebacker. My 2 guys right now, they met with Noah Sewell, and they met with Henry 2222. I think that. Yeah.
However you say that guy's name, we'll figure it out. Okay, so I like the Alabama. I like the Alabama linebacker. I think the guy can really move. Mm-hmm. He looks comfortable in space. I think he's a guy. Maybe he can, be a coverage linebacker. Not the biggest guy, 6'1", 227, goes to the combine, runs pretty average, 4.6s, 32-inch vert, 9.8 broad. So, not like he's a freak athlete, but definitely looks like better in terms of the way he moves on film. So that's a potential guy. And then you're saying the Sewell guy from Oregon, they also met with. I think Noah Sewell fits more the mold of a Patrick Graham inside linebacker, being that he's closer to 250 pounds. And if they're going super heavy on linebacker, they're getting a guy to be the defensive line coach who comes from a blitz heavy background. I think that this could signal they're looking for guys who are going to be blitzers to supplement that pass rush, get more linebackers on the line of scrimmage and moving these guys around. And if they, get a bunch of young linebackers, maybe solving some of their problems on defense with confusion rather than just having a big beast 3 technique do all the work.
Exactly.
So I like those. I like those 2 guys. Is there another guy though that is maybe up there for you in terms of like their combine performance and would fit that mold?
I mean, Jack Campbell is the biggest one. He's probably the best fit of all of them. It's just how high does he go? Because the Raiders take him at 38. I wouldn't be shocked if they did that, just based on his athletic profile. I mean, I think he was the best linebacker in college football. One of those awards, and then just to kill at the combine. And he has really good tape too. Definitely great movement skills, great reading, great gap discipline, all that good stuff you want to see from a linebacker. Great hands, definitely could take on guards and stuff like that with his size. Somebody that Patrick Graham's really gonna like, right? So
yeah,
that type of player is there. At 38, I think he's a serious option there. Jack Campbell, that is somebody that they might take at 38 because I don't think he's going to be in it's just the way. I think the first inside linebacker off the board is probably going to be Simpson from Clemson. I think he'd probably be the first one, and he'd probably be the only guy to go in the first round, in my opinion. That would be inside linebacker. Right. It would be Jack Campbell would be the next guy. So,
38. I think it's a possibility. Jack Campbell, though, with that athletic profile, I think he sneaks into the first round. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. At least I'd have to watch more of him and compare. I'm not going to get to all the prospects to know like how talent rich some of these other position groups are, but he's a guy whose athletic profile is almost identical to Leighton Vander Esch, who was a first round linebacker, almost 10-year NFL vet now at this point. I mean, how long have we been doing this draft Nick stuff? He's been in the NFL for like 8 years, probably, this guy Leighton Vander Esch. So makes me feel old. But I mean, 6'5", 250-pound linebacker, 10.25-inch hands, who's running all the times and jumping all the heights that he's jumping. This is definitely a guy who, if he is there in the second round, great. Yes, let's do that. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Athletic profile, definitely, and that's what the combine's all about. We're going off of that right now. We'll get into the film later. Okay, so anyone else though at linebacker, or is that just about it? It covers a little dry after that.
Yeah, it's covers a little dry after that. I think that's kind of the linebacker's position is a little down this year, but I think those are kind of few guys that the Raiders kind of keep their eye on. A lot of the linebackers just undersized pass rushers like Ivan Pace, who's like 5'10", 230 pounds, but he's like the best pass rusher. All he did was get pressure in college.
Yeah, there was a Hercules Mataafa that was like that too at I think it was Washington State.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, everybody remembers Hercules.
Almost like 20 sacks or whatever it was, and shows up to the combine. He's like 6'1", 227 pounds or something like that. And they're like, wait, what position is he going to play? Like, he's a 220-pound defensive tackle. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What works in the Pac-12 does not work in the NFL. He had to switch it up real quick. But yeah, I mean, Trenton Simpson, it's actually funny because I was thinking about this. I was like, oh, Trenton Simpson. And then I was like, if they call up Trenton Simpson, they're like, hey, we want to draft you a year after we cut your brother for some BS reason, do you think Trent Simpson's gonna be like, yeah, I really want to come play in Vegas? He probably wouldn't even pick that phone call up. Like Trent Simpson at this point, he's going in the first round. He can bang it on McDaniels if McDaniels wants him there. I don't think that he'd be willing to go to Vegas.
No.
Yeah.
And last thoughts, I mean, the cornerback position didn't really figure out, kind of get a big deal of what the Raiders are going to do there, but I mean, there are some really good corners. Christian Gonzalez had a great week. Really showed off his athleticism.
Yes.
Right. A couple of guys had the safeties were really slow. So I don't know if the Raiders are going to do a safety if they're going to draft one, but I don't know what their plan is there. But there's guys who are really slow. You might see Nate Hobbs at safety at this point.
I think it's a possibility.
It is.
I think it's a strong possibility. I think. I mean, yeah, we'll see. I have to get into the safeties, so I don't want to say all that because I still have to get into the safeties. I watched all of the Illinois secondary, and it's actually funny to me because the Illinois safety that I like the most is the one that no one's talking about at all. So I just keep my mouth shut.
The one who ran like the 4.3 and like jumped like 40 inches and.
No. That guy, he's a more like a corner in their defense, and then they got another guy. So that's Jatavius Martin. He's number 21, and he's a nickel. He plays like slot for them.
Okay.
And then they got a guy, Sidney Brown, who timed similarly, good athlete, and he's like a box safety, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But then they got another guy. I don't even know if he got invited to the combine, but I haven't seen anyone talk about him. He's number 7. He's their free safety, and I see him making a ton of NFL plays. So I don't know what the problem is, but he's a guy with like the actual like range of an NFL player, and these other guys are just kind of like dime a dozen kind of athletic like player profiles. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what the deal is. If I'm watching that Illinois secondary, I like the guy who didn't even get a combine invite. I'm not seeing him on this list here. So I don't know what the deal is with that.
Did he come out or?
Yeah, he's a senior. He had to come out.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, maybe you can just cut this off because maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But these are the two guys, Jatavius Martin, Sidney Brown. I would say are like mid-day. Like they're the two of the fastest safeties listed here, and I would say they're like mid draft, like maybe like day 4 kind of guys. Like I wouldn't say that they're. I'm sorry. Yeah, round four.
These are the undrafted. Yeah, day 4. Yeah,
day 4. After the draft, call me.
Sunday.
Sorry, I'm not saying that. Not saying that. But I'm saying like I'm saying like a round 4 guy. I'm saying like round 4 guy. So I wouldn't put them up that high.
You should have said that for undrafted guys to call them day 4 picks. Yeah, I think he's a day 4 guy.
I think he's a day 4 guy. I've seen actually a few safeties like that I'm like, why am I even watching this guy right now? I don't even know where to start with these guys. If the Illinois safeties are the best, that's not great. If the Illinois safeties are the best, that's not great.
Yeah, so
I'll just say that. Right. There's one guy, Illinois. We'll get to that. I'll do a little breakdown on Devin Witherspoon. Coming soon to a theater near you here. We also have Christian Gonzalez stuff up. We talked about him. Go ahead.
What did Witherspoon run?
Witherspoon didn't work out.
Oh yeah, he didn't. All right, so that kind of wraps it up, man. Nothing else to talk about. Josh Jacobs got franchise tag. I guess we should have started with that, but
that was coming.
Yeah, so that was coming. We got a franchise tag for Josh Jacobs. So I mean, they should just give him a long-term deal. We'll see how that goes, though.
Right.
At this point, if you do a franchise tag him, if you feel like he's that, if you want him long-term like that, might as well just pay him. If you feel like you got to pay him.
They don't. They want Josh Jacobs with a chip on his shoulder only. That's the only Josh Jacobs they want. They just want an angry Josh Jacobs. They don't want a complacent, happy, content Josh Jacobs. That's not what we want. We want a guy who's upset at the world. But we'll see.
Bijan Robinson did come in at 5'11", 215 exactly. And we know they like 5'11", 215. I just putting that out there.
If they picked him in the top 10, I would be beside myself.
5'11", 215 exactly.
Is he playing quarterback? No, I'm just kidding. We're just gonna go 2 backs, no QB. Just put 2 backs. Wildcat this. All right.
Josh Jacobs is quarterback.
Yeah,
like high school.
I'll do that. I'll do it.
Like high school.
We'll just be a standalone offense. No one will not prepare for us. All right. I think this is off the rails here. Go ahead, get us out of here, bro. We're good to go.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Check out all the content that we're putting out there. All the Christian Gonzalez, get some Will Levis for Ole Miss coming this week. So we got the content. Peace,
y'all.